it's funny. State of Mind. I forgot to say subscribe on the last one. So I'm going to say it now so I don't forget. If you listen, people, please subscribe because I'm trying to do a lot of different things. Today I have a guest that will blow your mind. It blows my mind because I'm a fan of his. So if you like what you see, please subscribe because I want to keep bringing you people like this person. I don't say his name in the beginning because I want you guys the suspense to build. But hit the button down here at the thing, right? Anyway, so my guest today, Emmy-winning. That doesn't even. Who cares? I mean, this guy. My main thing with this guy is what he's done for the Native Americans. Moves me to no end. Because I don't know what it is. I have a certain feeling about Native Americans, and it's just the tradition, the history, and I want to say kindness. Something about it. Anyway, I'm going to get into that. He has done, I can't even tell you as far as a resume because he's worked with John Wayne, Jake Gyllenhaal, Maurice Benard, which is the number one, I think. No, maybe number two. Marcy Walker. And he's done all these movies. And we're going to talk about She-Devil because he doesn't know what happened with She-Devil. He doesn't know what happened. His name is A Martinez.
Hey, Mo. Sweet of you, man. Thank you.
What's going on, man?
Man, I'm hanging. It's a pleasure to see your face again.
It's just a pleasure to be here with you because, I don't know, I was going to go, with State of Mind, I think I'm going to go here, but I go there, so I just want to go right to GH. I don't know why.
Dude.
You came on. I don't know if I ever told you, I was just a huge fan of yours. From just because let's go right to the whole shebang here. You were the man on Santa Barbara. And you were the Hispanic before I came. I'm Italian, but I'm not, okay? I'm full-blooded Spanish. But everybody thinks I'm Italian, so let's just say I'm Italian. But I'm proud of my heritage of being Spanish. But you did what no other Hispanic at that time had done on soap operas. How was it?
It was good fortune. The show wasn't working.
Oh.
And they were casting around trying to figure out what the hell is the problem. The problem was that the people that were making it had never made a soap. They had no idea what they had bit off. They were New York theater people, mainly, a lot of them, and the Dobsons, of course, who had been involved with soaps. But the people that were doing the show running were out of New York theater, Jeffrey Hayden. And they didn't know what they were up against. It took us 6 weeks to finish an episode before midnight.
No.
Yeah, we were in desperate shape. Everybody was losing weight, and, it was...
How long have you been on?
Well, I think by the time... they started, the ratings weren't very good. The show wasn't really working. The affiliates were starting to balk.
And you were the lead?
I was not. I was supposed to be over here. There was a bunch of families, and I was in the family over here that was the Andrade family. I was sort of adjacent to the Andrade family, Santana. But what happened is that it wasn't working, and so they started looking for a scapegoat. And they decided to blame the guy who was playing the main alpha lead guy, Dane. And, to this day, I think it was a terrible mistake to blame him.
Yeah.
He didn't deserve to be blamed for the show having faltered. But, of course, now there's a vacuum because they don't know, what we're going to build around. And I think it was, might have been Brian Franz who came and started saying, okay, what should we do? Came and started asking questions. And Jill Phelps, who was in the music department at the time, and had just been kicked up into some production capacity, or maybe it was just around that time, but she'd become a producer. And she said, I think you should give A and Marcy a shot.
No.
Right, because we were supposed to be with other people, We're going to keep the dark-skinned guy over here with the dark-skinned people, and the princess here is going to be, playing Juliet to the Romeo from the other white family, the Lockridges and the Capwells. But they decided to take a chance and actually, you know, cross-pollinate us. And, of course, they wrote us 3 great days. They wrote us great stuff for 3 days. They forced us to be together for 3 days. And Jill said to us, never forget this, she said, okay, you can have these 3 days, and there's all kind of reasons that you can have it go wrong. You can come up with a lot of excuses later if it didn't work. You know, you didn't get directed right. You didn't quite solve the writing. You know, there was this, the thing. But, you know, don't do that. You know, make sure it works. Do whatever you have to do to make it work. And if you have to, like, mess with it, I'll have your back. So Marcy and I took time over a weekend to, like, conspire about what we're going to do. One of the key things we decided to do was find a way to get onto the floor, to, you know, no longer be sitting up, but actually, you know, let's see what it looks like to put these people on the floor where one of them is on top of the other, and they're starting to have a little bit of a thing. You know, just stuff that we decided to do, and it worked. People liked it, and suddenly we were given attention. They started to write for us, you know, and as soon as they write for you, then, you know, then you have a chance to do your best, you know.
Did you know, like, right away when you were working with her, that this could be magic?
I did.
Damn.
Yeah, and it wasn't, but you could tell that it could be.
Oh.
There was a lot of fear in it, you know. It was a lot to add. Well, you know what it's like, man.
Yeah.
You know, you're asked to basically open everything up, and you got a camera looking at you, and you're behaving, you know, at your most intimate in a lot of ways, not only physically and emotionally, but intellectually. You know, you're letting yourself be examined. And it was a really scary thing, you know. I mean, I was older. It was easier for me, I think, a little bit. But it was hard for her, I think, to, you know, kind of trust the kind of intimacy that it seemed that was possible that we could find. And we had to kind of nurse our way to it. And what we got to, I still to this day consider it one of the great miracles of my life, that we got to such a level of intimacy where we could literally just, she got me to laugh without thinking about it, you know. I mean, I was able to, you know, be up and all around her and in her and not feel at any kind of weirdness about how am I looking or what am I supposed to be doing. You know, you just, we were able to lose ourselves in one another, and where you just understood that what was happening between you was much more compelling than either of you added up. I mean, it was one of those things, what's that cliche, the whole was greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
It lifted. You know, something happened in the energy between us.
So now you won an Emmy. Mm-hmm. I think you were the first person that was.
I think that in terms of people of color, I know, I believe that dude Williams had won one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. Back in the day on All My Children, maybe, or maybe I'm going further back. I'm not really sure, but there weren't too many. Yeah.
I think I was probably a little. The reason I know is because I was probably jealous at that point of you winning.
Well, didn't you win twice, man? I think 4, 3.
Sorry.
Well, yeah, I guess I have reason to be jealous too, man. Yeah.
Do you think they canceled it too soon? Can you maybe move that mic up a bit? Yeah, that's better, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you know, that's a good question.
Because because I'm thinking, as big as you guys were, and that show, I mean, Nancy Lee Grahn talks about it all the time, how great it was. And I'm thinking, maybe they just let it go too quick.
Good question. I always thought that that its success in America did not reach its success everywhere else.
Oh.
It was gigantically popular around the world because the dude who New World Productions owned it, and that guy Roger Corman had made all those B horror movies. He had this international network of distribution, so it was shown everywhere in the world. Man, it was so successful everywhere, and in America, it never, at the time NBC was lagging behind the other networks, as
I get
always
you.
been
I
the
get
case.
you.
Our ratings in America weren't all that.
Right.
So I think...
I know it's a ratings game.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think they pull the plug too soon.
Yeah.
Especially when you got Magic going on.
Yeah.
And I think like All My Children, One Life, when they got canceled, I think they shouldn't have been canceled, but they had a good run.
Sure.
You guys were how long were you guys going on the air?
I think it was 9 years.
Oh, it was 9 years.
Yeah.
Oh.
I did it for 8.5, and then I got offered LA Law, and I thought, and Marcy had left, and I was working with Eileen Davidson and Kim Zimmer, and
Damn.
People were pissed. A lot of people didn't. Aren't you married to Marcy Walker? What's up with you? Are you cheating on Marcy? What's going on here?
Oh yeah.
So you could tell that people were angry about that, and of course you get a chance to do a great show like LA Law. I thought, well, I got to say yes to that. And
How was LA Law? How was that?
it was hard.
Yeah. In what way was it hard?
Well, I had been used to. I've been playing this. I played that dude for 1,650 episodes. Cruise, and I had a lot of power to shape him. If I didn't quite understand the way to get through something, I just change it into something else.
Right.
You go to LA Law, and they're like, you will say these words down to the comma.
I know.
And the script will come when it comes. And a lot of times, it would show up at my door. This is back in the day when they would send you the scripts to your door. Get the script, 10 p.m., and you got an early call, and they want it letter perfect. That was real tough.
Ooh.
There was a thing they did where they had like a bullpen shot on some episodes where they would like shoot the entire first, they'd lay all the themes of the show out in one long scene where the Steadicam would walk to desk to desk to desk, and people would have all these lines. And of course, if anybody made any error whatsoever, then everybody has to do the whole thing again.
No.
Yeah, right. So, you don't want to be the guy who didn't say the words perfect. And I remember my wife said, she wasn't unkind, but she said, some days you come home from that show and you don't smell good. You smell like you've defeated your deodorant, with whatever's the cortisol level that you're achieving in your stress. So it was hard, but, I loved it.
Hey, that's interesting you talk about that, because I've come to a point now where acting now has become, I do it. I don't want to do anything but GH now. I've done quite a lot in the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. That I don't want. I don't want to. That's too much pressure to go out, with my anxiety and the whole thing. And I almost feel like I'd rather do this if I was getting paid, the amount of money.
Yeah.
This to me is so much more fulfilling. When I was younger, when I was younger, everything was about the challenge. Mm-hmm. I wanted to prove to this person, to that person, that I'm great. I want to do.
Sure.
But now it's about pay me and I want to be happy. Right?
Oh, I still hear that.
It's like, but I'm almost 60, so I think it has to do with all the acting I've done, especially on General Hospital, and everything that I've gone through. I don't want any more of.
Yeah.
It's like a fighter fighting for 30 years. After that, he's like, I don't want to really fight anymore.
Yeah.
I have to because I got to make a living, right?
Right. Well, I mean, you're talking about in the open how many great people I've worked with. I consider you to be one of the great people I've worked with.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. I mean, on the days when I would get to work with you, I would take extra special care to be ready.
And I was very serious back then.
Yeah, you were.
I'm lighter now.
You really, well, that's great. But you brought, man, you wore him like a skin. I mean, Sonny, I mean, what a tough life. What a tough life the dude has. I mean, you talk about pressure, and you were in that. You stayed in it, and I respected it so much. I loved it. I loved
Yeah.
it. Yeah, we had great. I loved it. Those were special days to me. So
you were a bad guy,
I was a bad guy, but
but you didn't start. Did you start?
No, I didn't start really as a bad. I mean, I was like, originally the
Roy,
character.
right?
Yeah, he was sort of a pal of Luke's in certain shady realms. And it wasn't until the very end, when I was about to leave, that they realized that Roy was actually very much aligned with Sonny, even though he was pretending that he wasn't. Or the audience was led to believe that Roy was, askew from Sonny somehow. And I remember there was this one last scene when you came over to this seedy apartment Roy was in, and we played the scene when we revealed it. But I'm totally losing my train of thought here. But the thing I was going to say was, it matters to people,
Yeah.
that Sonny is alive in the world.
Yeah.
It matters to people. I mean, I think you do the other stuff if you want, if it makes you feel good.
I get you.
Whatever, but it matters. It's
Yeah.
a lot of people depend on the fact that they keep showing up, and ideals that they carry
Yeah.
continue to be there for them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that character is an ideal for a lot of people.
I get you. Yeah.
It's important that he continues.
Yeah. Yeah. Can we get into some mental health? I don't know
Yeah.
anything about you and mental health. I'm sure you know that I've been talking about this like I'm bipolar.
No, you bless your heart.
Yeah.
Man. Testify.
But you don't have any anxiety, or do you? Or
Yeah, I do, and I have mainly I've dealt with depression.
oh yeah.
I got pretty far down the rabbit hole there for a while. The image of acting and actors is like got the world on a string, right?
Yeah, no.
And there's things about it that are utterly blessed, and I'm grateful beyond my capacity to express how much I love where I am. But man, it ain't easy, and I there have been times where there's so much failure built into it. There's so much rejection.
Yes.
I mean, I try out for so many things, and I get such a small percentage of them. And sometimes it's no big deal. I've made my peace with it as I've gotten older. But, when you're raising a family and you finally got a job, and either they decide, well, we kind of like this show, but we don't like you so much anymore.
Oh.
Or, you get a gig and you go to the read through, and you get a call when you get home. And, they realize maybe they thought that you were somebody other than you were when you got in the room. Just
Yeah.
Or a gig that was the gig that's going to deliver you from a real difficult period of your career, and I've had a lot of them. The gig gets canceled, and that means, okay, my family's going to have to move. Things can be chaotic, and I've had, I don't know if more than my share, but I've had a pretty decent share of like setbacks.
And the setbacks, do they take you to depression, or
they do? You start to feel, what's wrong with me? Why is it that I can't, maintain?
Yeah.
I'm looking around, and of course you can easily start to become so selective in what you compare yourself to. I talk about this with my family all the time. Don't. Especially now with social media, you're a young artist trying to get off the dime, and you look, and there's somebody as old as you who's like, got 1 million followers and is like got this record deal, just all this stuff. I mean, you can easily just start to forget that everybody starts from not knowing how to do it, and then you have to build up to it, and you have to have some good fortune to gain some purchase on things and to continue. But the most important thing is you can't fall prey to comparing yourself to the people that you idolize or something. And of course it's easy to do, and then you start to wonder, well, what is wrong with me? I remember from the get, I went to, even earlier than that, I remember being in school and being one of the few people of color in my class. I was living in a blue-collar, largely white community. And a substitute teacher would come in and say, "So, what's your name, man?" "Oh, so people like you don't really usually do good in school, or
No.
yeah, stuff like this,
Wow.
right? And I'm just like, okay, well, he doesn't know me. I don't have to listen to that, but it does sort of get in your mind, people like you, and then I went to UCLA. I jumped into the theater arts at the last minute. Got in last year. You could probably get in at the last minute, like I did. And you go to you're in the thing and you're trying to get cast, and you're maybe you get to play the ass end of a horse on the main stage or something like that. It's not doing so great. You go to the parties, and all these kids, we're doing, someone sits down at the piano and they start playing all these Broadway tunes, and it's like everybody there is conversant with, the language of Broadway.
Yeah.
And I'm coming from this blue-collar town in the San Fernando Valley, and, my musical education happened. I'd smoke a joint and go sit in the garage with my friends. We'd be like jamming on our guitars and trying to figure out the chords to songs. So you go to this party and everyone is like, and killing it.
Right.
I mean, killing it. And you start thinking, wow, am I in the wrong place here?
How do you feel like obviously don't fit
You don't
in?
feel like you fit in, right? And then when you have difficulty sort of sustaining the momentum of your career, you just have that thought come back to you over and over again. There's something wrong with me. What was I thinking to think I could do this? And the truth is, West Side Story came out when I was a little kid, and I went to the movies, and my parents let me go 3 times in a week because they knew how much it meant to me. And I'm looking at that and I'm going, wow, look at that. That must mean that anybody could do this, because, and so you get that hook. I got to say that to Rita Moreno one year. 35 years ago, I met her somewhere at some function, and I got to tell her that was the moment where I started to believe I had a place in this. And that's been the struggle ever since, is to believe that original provocation was legitimate. It's getting better.
It's getting better.
It's
yeah.
getting better. And I'll tell you, Mo, at the bottom, the time I bottomed out, where I literally started, thinking about the most dire thoughts you can think of.
Yes.
It's hard to admit that to people you love and who love you.
Right.
But my wife,
Of course.
she said, okay, so, you lost your job and you had this problem and that problem, and this agent said goodbye, and so you're feeling sorry for yourself, and you've been doing it for a while now, so I guess what you've decided is that I don't matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That what I've decided to say about you is not as important as the details of your career. So I guess that's good to know. I'm glad to know where I stand, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
the shame of letting myself get so down, And of course, it ain't easy. Part of it is not easy to control.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it is chemistry. But I just, it was hard.
I'm with you on that. And I just, before we started, I told you, and I've talked about it a lot in State of Mind, so it's not I just talk about it. But with me during that period, it was really bad, because what I started thinking, because usually my wife, and I say it all the time, but usually when I'm in that dark place, she says, you are stronger than, when I say, I can't do it, I can't go on, I can't, not another day, not another minute. Mm-hmm. She goes, you are stronger than you know, stop it. But in this situation where it really got sticky, is that I felt that they would be better off without me.
Oh, shit, man. Yeah.
Because it was 4 months of just like the annoying person. And that's how I saw it. They didn't see it like that. But I would every day, and I'm thinking, But the reality is, because we always have to leave these kind of conversations on a high note. The high note is, I've been in a mental institution, I've been in depression where I didn't want to go on, I've been in there many times. We can go on, and we do. You're sitting here with me, we're talking about it.
Yeah.
But in those moments, we're thinking, nah, I can't. But you can.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of it. And I'm going to tell you this, and probably for you too. When I got through it, look what's happened to my life in 2 years. 2 Emmys, this show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I feel that when you get through the dark periods, you're rewarded.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that Emmys mean, but you're rewarded because you went through so much hell that now you have an armor. I did it. Right?
Yes. Yes. It shows in your work.
In the work, in the thing.
In the thing. And just to reiterate, man, because it matters to a lot of people.
Yeah.
It matters to a lot of people.
You know what I'm going to bring this up again, even though I think I brought it up on, whatever. It doesn't matter how many times you bring something up if it's deep and good. Because you keep saying that, and there was a point during the pandemic that I was ready to go. I remember literally being with my goats, Buddy the Goat, who's the big Instagram sensation star, and I wasn't nothing getting. It was just, they were like not there. I was gone. I remember walking to my house and opening the door, and I was going to go out front and figure out a way, right? And I started praying. And then from the prayer came my family. And thinking, if I kill myself, then people who are following me because of mental health will feel like they should too. And that brought me back. I didn't, obviously. Mm-hmm. All right, let's talk about something else. Because we got real deep there. And it's like, but I wanted to get that deep with you.
Yeah, it's true, though, Mo. Thank you for that.
That was some good stuff.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Powwow Highway. Mm. And the reason I do is because I know how important that movie was to you. Mm. And I want to just give me your thoughts on Native Americans and the whole thing. I want to talk a lot about that because I'm so fascinated by it. Mm-hmm. And I can't understand, I think I said earlier why, but it's amazing to me. Mm.
Well, the script had been around for 10 years and nobody wanted to touch it. And somehow they got it to George Harrison, the Beatle.
Oh.
And he went, sure, let's do that. This is great, right? So that was a miracle in itself.
How did you come on?
My friend Carl Weintraub, the actor, the wonderful actor and dear friend of mine, he was talking to Junie Lowry, who was the casting director, right? Yeah. And he was saying, "Oh, you got this interesting thing. You should look up A for this, because I mean, this would be perfect for A." And she said, "Well, yeah, but A's doing Santa Barbara. I'm sure he can't do that." And he goes, "Well, he probably has an out, and so she had basically dismissed me because of the soap until my friend said, think of A. And so she had me come in, and I got to...
Didn't she cast L.A. Law too? Maybe not.
No, I don't think so. She cast Longmire.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And she cast Queen of the South. I mean, she's been a tremendous asset to me in the history of my career. Wow. She's in my corner, I don't know why, but
you need
thank
that,
God she's in my corner, man. And but she got me up for it, and I got to sit down with Gary Farmer, who played Filbert. That's an actor who was born to play that role.
Yes,
he was born to play that role. I've never seen any match of a character or an actor more perfect than that. So, the director said, improv. So we started just, working, and stuff, and we just hit it. We instantly hit it. And so he started thinking, well, wow, okay. And then, but he wasn't sure about me, the director, Jonathan Wax, who's in real life, a dyed-in-the-wool radical out of South Africa. I mean, he put himself in grave jeopardy in South Africa, being as liberal as he was when it was not cool to be liberal in South Africa. Still isn't, probably. But he, he was, he took me out to lunch and he said, "What's this soap opera? What are you doing?" I'm saying, I said, "Well, dude, it's actually a pretty good show, and I'm feeding my family, and I'm loving how much better I'm getting at my work, and I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm proud of it." And he goes, "Yeah, but okay, so what do you think about the world?" And he gave me a chance to start talking about my politics, and my politics line up with the guy, Buddy Redbow, who's a real character. So then he realized, oh, okay, so he's not just trying to be cute for a living. He's actually got a mind. So he gave me a shot. And I think that I didn't get off to a good start in the movie because, I was shooting, weekends and then doing 5 Santa Barbaras and running out to New Mexico to shoot a couple of weekends before I got in the groove of it. And I've had a love-hate relationship with that performance my whole life because, there are things about it that I just think, nah, come on, man. But at its best, it works fine. And Gary is one of the great actors. He's in the same list with you, Mo. Thanks, he's on the top 10.
Wow.
And so
but he's done other roles like that too.
He's done a lot of stuff, man. And now, of course, it's starting to happen for him. He's got a great part on Reservation Dogs. He's in Resident Alien.
No,
I mean he's happening now, and I'm writing for him too, actually, because I just think he's a genius, and I love him. I think the things that he can do, I've seen him on stage, mind-blowing. The things he can do are different than pretty much anybody I've ever met. He has a way to go into a spiritual realm that's so accessible. Plus, he has a way to go into rage and a way to go into chaos that is just breathtaking. The kind of thing where you go, how did you do that, man?
Yeah.
So anyway, I love that. And of course, then you get reminded of, because I've known about this my whole life. My dad's people came from Texas, from that giant pool of indigenous DNA over there that got sort of cut in half when the line got drawn between Texas and Mexico. But, you sort of see, what it is. It's like that being in America and being described as you people, or that kind of thing. And so you learn right off the top that the cards aren't really evenly distributed. So you got to think about that. And then the deeper you get into it, the more you realize that whether you want to or not, you have a duty. I think especially as artists who are charged with telling the truth, you have a duty to actually speak on it. And so I just remember, falling into a level of deeper study in my education and, spending more time tending the relationships I had among the Indian country. And then finally got cast in Longmire, where, you had a series that created a multitude of 3-dimensional human beings who were indigenous, and all these indigenous actors that got to come and play not the old savage stereotype, not the noble warrior stereotype. Human beings in the middle of the thing, right? A whole bunch of people, which I think seeded the ground a bit for a lot of the shows that have come now. When I went to Standing Rock, 2016, I mean, the degree of love and appreciation for Longmire was overwhelming.
I know people love that show.
People love that show. And basically it's the vision of one man, a guy named Craig Johnson. He started writing these books, And, you know, he lives out in Wyoming. You know, he's got real good friends among the indigenous, and he thought, well, I'm going to tell a story about this thing, and it's got to include the indigenous world, and he did it, you know. He's
Now, the most important thing, I think, is did you ever ask Lou Diamond Phillips to sing La Bamba? I mean, that's a serious...
Dude, that's among the things that haunts you, you know? You know, because, I mean, you know, I've been a singer all my life, and you know, La Bamba, and my girlfriend in junior high, her dad was the principal of San Fernando High School and kicked him out of school just before the plane crash that killed him. So I always felt, man, I got a connection to Richie Valens, you know. So, oh, that's happening, and I'm thinking, wow, I couldn't even get an audition, and then I hear that it's already cast, right? So, you know, then you look at Lou and you go, oh, okay, well, okay. I get it. It's funny, you know, when you want a part real bad and you don't get it. I mean, the thing I want to, when I go see it, is I want to like go, okay, I understand. this guy is great.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure I could have done anything like that. It's when it's sad is when you go and see something you wanted and they give it to somebody and they just like
they're not
do
good.
nothing with it. You go,
it's like
what? How? Well, you know.
Then you get like. Maybe you don't want it anyway, you know what I mean? Because this guy's so bad.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they were.
Well, I'm gonna talk to you about that before we end this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go through a little history.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You know some stuff I don't, probably.
Well, no, yeah, you don't know this, but I'm gonna tell you.
Okay.
So, I auditioned for a role a while back.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not gonna tell you the name of it yet.
God.
And you know, you have to understand. Now I can care less. It's funny the way things are different for me now. I used to watch movies and go, I can do that. I want to do that. Now I look at it and go, oh, that's way too much work. I don't want to do it. You know, it's weird now that I'm, you know, at my age. But at that time, I was desperate.
Gotta have this.
Oh, it was not even gotta have it. I was just, I was in New York doing All My Children. So I get a call to audition for this role. I guess I did really good because they're like, they want you. Or first position, whatever the
First
frick
position.
that is.
You're the top of the list. You're on the short list.
Yeah. And the movie was a big movie. And I'm thinking, damn, I'm getting this motherfucker. Right? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, yeah, they love you. They love you. Okay, great. And you got to wear Speedo in it. I'm like, I don't care. I'll go naked. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't say that. No, maybe no naked. No. And they're like, oh, that. And Meryl Streep's in it. And I'm like, oh, my God. My career.
Yeah, right.
My career. Meryl Streep, a Speedo. And then I hear, you're not getting it. I thought I got it. Nope, you're not getting it. So until then, you know, you get rejected and all that. I go, well, who got it? A Martinez.
Oh, I never knew this. I never knew this.
And to be honest with you, I wasn't. No, I felt pretty good that A got it. I didn't know you. We didn't meet. We hadn't met, but I was a fan of yours. So there goes what you're saying. If it had been somebody else, I'd have been like, oh, this. But it was you. I said, all right, cool. He's, you know, Santa Barbara, the whole thing. But it hurt me, I will say.
I bet. And you would have been great in that.
How was it?
It was awesome, man. It was beyond awesome because, I mean, you know, she's a hero to me. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
she's like on that list. You know?
Yeah.
But I got to say, it was awesome. But there was a little piece of it that was like, oh, she's doing something I don't understand.
Ooh, Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep. She could do. The director, Susan Seidelman, was. I don't know if it was because she was pregnant, but you know, the story was told that she was pregnant and didn't know it for a while. But but she would let us shoot 10 takes before she'd have anything to say. And then we'd shoot 10 more takes with her, like sort of kibitzing and stuff and giving little things, you know. So that's 20 takes. Damn. Regularly. And of course, I got some ideas, but 20 ideas? I don't think I got that many. But Meryl Streep had 20 ideas, and it would seem like it was a faucet that just kept pouring water out of it. And you know, no matter how many times you asked her to do it, she would do something somewhat different every single time. And every single thing she did, you could go, okay, this goes directly into the movie. And I'm like, I mean, I don't understand. I mean, I've got a handful of ideas, but by the time we're getting to take 6 or 7, I'm recycling, and we're going to keep shooting. Why are we keep shooting? If you haven't noticed, I got nothing new to offer here. But she would do it. Well, she would just
like loud and then quiet and then
or just with a little click or just some kind. And she wouldn't even mess with the words. It was just the subtext. You know, what it meant underneath, right? What she was saying underneath it. She would find a way to communicate the thinking behind it that had shifted into something not always radically different, but distinct every single time. Rhythmically, the way she'd pitch it, just the thinking of it. But the thing that blew my mind even more was that she was among the greatest hosts I've ever been around. Mm. She was like taking care of the set, and not in her like method thing, right? She's over in the corner getting, it was all just like, she's just doing it, and they say, okay, we're rolling, and she'd close her eyes, she'd spend 2 or 3 seconds with her eyes closed, and then she'd come out and do another amazing thing. I was in awe of her, and it made me realize that, you know, all those years I spent, you know, kind of indulging in a lot of rock and roll culture while she was in the theater on stage in New York, that it made a difference. And just to say, I always want to say this. There was a day on a set, we were shooting in the swimming pool in the Big Tent in Port Jefferson, and we, you know, we're taking lots of takes, a lot of tracking shots around the pool and stuff, and the focus puller made a mistake on one shot, and he got reamed. He got just chewed out, you know, for like, and kind of go, he's being blamed now. This energy is coming from some other thing that's happening in the director. I don't know where this is from, but it was terrible. And this is 11:30. We break for lunch. We come back. It may be 4 or 5 hours later. We're still in there shooting, and we do another shot. And Meryl, alone in the room, except for him, I'm sure, remembered what he had suffered and went out of her way to actually yell his name and compliment him on the work he did on a fairly complicated shot. This is 4 or 5 hours later, when everybody else has like forgotten this ever happened, except him. And she took care of him 5 hours after the fact, the slight. And I just thought,
it's generous.
This is one of the reasons that she's so spectacular. You know, her gift is rooted in some profound generosity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you got the role.
Thank you, man. I apologize for the pain that it was caused. But I mean, you know, I wanted to play Desi Arnaz too, so you know, had a lot more lines.
All right, A. Yeah. I just want to conclude this by saying this has been kind of what I wanted, but much better with A. It's like just easy, you know? I say I want to work easy now. I don't want to work hard anymore. I want to work whatever I do, it can't be so much pressure that it's hard. I don't want that. I want it easy. And this today with A was as easy as I can't even explain it. I think he got deep. We got deep together. We shared a connection, a close moment that was just powerful for me, and I hope for him. Mm-hmm. So anyway, thank you, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great.
Great, man.